All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to be talking about something that's really at the heart of Islam, the ritual prayer, which is known as Salah. We're going to break down what it means, how it's done, and the huge role it plays in daily life.
So, we're starting with the number 2. And you might be wondering, why 2? Well, it's because in Islam, prayer isn't just another good deed you can do. Nope, it holds a very specific and incredibly high rank. That's right. It's literally the second foundational pillar of the entire faith. Right after someone declares their belief, prayer is considered the most important act that holds up everything else. It's not some optional add-on. It's part of the very bedrock.
And this quote, wow, it just drives the point home, doesn't it? According to this tradition from the Prophet, the very first thing a person will be asked about on the Day of Judgment is their prayer. This really sets the stage for why getting the details right is so crucial for Muslims.
So let's start with that why. What makes prayer such an absolute non-negotiable? Well, the answer goes right back to the core texts of Islam.
The instruction to pray comes up again and again in the Quran. But what's really interesting is how often it's paired with other major duties, like giving zakah, which is the required annual charity. Putting them side by side like this shows that prayer isn't just a personal act of worship. It's seen as a pillar that supports the whole community.
Okay, so before a prayer can even start, there's a whole list of conditions that have to be met. You can almost think of it like a pilot's pre-flight checklist. Every single item has to be ticked off for the prayer to be valid and, to take off.
And here are those 7 conditions. They're all about getting you into a state of readiness, both physically and mentally. It covers everything from, of course, being a Muslim of sound mind, to ritual purification, to making sure you're physically clean. It also includes covering what's known as the awra, which are specific parts of the body, and facing the Qibla, which is the direction of the Kaaba in Mecca. Then you've got to pray at the right time, and last but not least, you have to have the right intention. And that last point on intention, it's absolutely central to, well, everything in Islam, really. This famous teaching says it all. The physical movements are one thing, but without the conscious inner purpose of worshiping God, they're just empty gestures. In other words, the why you're doing something is what gives the action its true meaning. So, the pre-flight check is done. Now, what actually happens during the prayer? Well, the prayer has its own anatomy, and it's made up of core components that fall into 2 main buckets.
The easiest way to think about it is this. The obligatory acts, or wajibat, are like the structural foundation of a house. They are absolutely essential, and if you miss one, the whole prayer is invalid. Then you have the sunnah acts. Think of these as the beautiful details and enhancements that follow the Prophet Muhammad's example. They complete and perfect the prayer.
So here are some of those essential spoken parts. This includes all the times you say Allahu Akbar, which means God is greatest, when you're moving from one position to the next. It also includes specific phrases of praise you say when bowing and prostrating, and reciting the tashahhud, which is a declaration of faith you say while seated. These are the verbal non-negotiables. And here you can see some of those sunnah acts that complement the essentials. Things like starting with a personal supplication, raising your hands at certain points, reciting an extra chapter from the Quran, even knowing when to recite out loud versus silently. These are the actions that add that extra layer of devotion and really beautify the prayer.
Okay, so we've got the conditions and we've got the components. But how does this all come together in a real practical way? Well, this structure isn't just some abstract formula. It creates a very distinct rhythm in the daily life of a practicing Muslim. And the backbone of that rhythm is right here, the 5 daily obligatory prayers. They're spaced out from dawn all the way until night. Each one has its own specific time window, which makes sure that throughout the entire day, from the moment you wake up to when you go to sleep, you're constantly turning your attention back to God. It's a way to punctuate your day with these moments of mindfulness.
Now, beyond those 5 required prayers, there's another important number, 12. This is the total number of additional, highly recommended units of prayer, or rakahs, that are attached to the daily prayers. A rakah is just that set cycle of standing, bowing, and prostrating. These extra 12 are performed right before or after the main prayers, really reinforcing that daily habit of worship. And the whole framework of prayer doesn't just stop there. It extends to all kinds of other situations. There are voluntary prayers, like the special late-night tahajjud prayer, and there are also specific prayers for community occasions, like during an eclipse, when asking for rain, or for a funeral. And all of this brings us to the ultimate goal. The Quran itself suggests that this daily ritual is meant to be much more than just a series of physical movements. It's designed for deep moral and spiritual transformation. So, This leaves us with one final and really crucial question to think about. How is this repeated, structured act of devotion meant to ripple outward and shape a person's entire character in every other part of their life?